See, it turned blue and the stress dissipated. But now when you click it,
I don't know that I would have talked about this quite so much.
Just wait till the first time it doesn't turn blue for you. It's like with every passing 10 seconds, your heart rate goes up. All right. Are we live?
And we're live on all of the streams and on Crowdcast. Hello, it is, or what do you normally say? Good evening?
Yeah, we've only done this 351 times.
I don't pay attention, Ben.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right.
And we're live. It is Saturday, March 13th, 5:04 p.m., the last day of Eastern Standard Time. It is, oh wait, I already said what it is. It's just a Saturday. I'm giggling and I'm getting like a little blushy because I just am like, it feels a lot more real when I see all these parts of it. Before it was just me and I had to sit in front of a camera with a drink and talk to my friend Ben. And then it just never seemed. Cheers, Ben. Anyways.
It's Kate o'clock.
It's Kate o'clock. Yeah. It's yeah, and you'll notice am I on the opposite side of the screen that I'm normally on? I think because I've maybe I don't know. Maybe
I think it randomly assigns.
How do I end this, by the way, just so that I'm not like accidentally broadcasting from like my chair?
Bottom left, there should be an option for end broadcast, but you don't want to click that because we're just at the beginning of the broadcast.
Well, this has been fun. Ben texted me this morning and said, do you want to set up all of the feeds and everything on the back end for Lieu? I was like, of course, sure, no problem. And I will say that I got through it and figured it all out myself with only needing to get access, with only the only problem being access to the different accounts.
One thing you are not is technically impaired.
No.
You are like very good technically.
No, I know. It's almost like I've been interested in tech my whole life.
It's almost like you're like a tech scholar and you're like a digital native or something.
I also am I have a really big secret to tell you. I will never read the instructions to play a board game or to do anything like that. But if I'm having some small problem on the internet, like how to find the stream in Facebook, I will watch a video or I will Google for it like that and ask for directions very quickly and then watch 10 seconds of a video or go to a video and be like, that's exactly what I wanted to know and find out. And that's it. And then I'll turn it off. But it saves me a tremendous amount of difficulty then. So anyway.
I applaud your technical adeptness. We are live. We were on time. And while we are not allowed to have fun anymore, we are allowed now to do burden sharing on In Lieu of Fun with respect to being in the driver's seat. And that is super, super great. Yeah. It's like the second best thing to fun.
Yeah. And I have been like kind of, well, are you going to tell people about how you figured out my mystery guest?
I was going to save that to the end of the show, but I would say that gives me a little too much credit. Kate blurted out the mystery guest for tomorrow, unprompted, and she was like, by the way, I got so-and-so for tomorrow. And I was like, is that the mystery guest? And she's like, oh, shit. So all this time, I thought I was being sneaky, trying to get Kate to divulge the mystery guest. All I really had to do was keep my mouth shut.
It's true.
And she would do it all by herself.
I'm very bad at keeping my own secrets, but I am good at keeping other people's secrets. So it's really a miracle that you didn't get me to blurt out almost every time you asked me who's the mystery guest. I think that if mystery guest hadn't been in the title, I would have forgotten and just told you. Like if it had been Sunday guest, I would have just told you every time. But I was like, oh, I should shut up because it's supposed to be a mystery. So yeah, I don't know. How was your day? What have you been up to?
Oh, I had a genuinely annoying day
Oh
because
really?
I had a minor allergic reaction last night and was therefore spent much of the day sleeping off Benadryl. And then I woke up.
Accidental allergic reaction?
No, I did it on purpose.
No, but
Who has an intentional allergic reaction?
okay, that's very true. But I mean, like, what I guess I mean is you could trace what it was that had happened, and you knew you had ingested something, and there was an allergic reaction happening. Not like
Correct.
it was like you were like thought you were sick in some other way. I guess
No, no, no.
not accidental at all. I guess it was like
An allergic reaction of the types that I have
that sounds so
are
scary.
unmistakable for anything else. But this one was not a serious one. It was unpleasant, and I therefore took a lot of Benadryl, which is what you do in these situations. And my reactions to Benadryl have gotten more as I've gotten older. It really wipes me out.
It's
And
kind of terrible. It completely makes me comatose. So does not dopamine. That's actually a neurotransmitter. What's the one?
Dramamine.
Dramamine. Thank you.
Yeah, different. So I spent much of the day feeling droopy and lying around, and then around 3, got an urgent text from a good friend that a particular drugstore in Washington, D.C. had a large supply of excess vaccine that it had to get rid of by 4 o'clock because it was Pfizer and therefore quite perishable. And a nursing home that had contracted for it had not picked it up, and so they were just giving it out to people on the street. And so could I get to this particular drugstore by 4, which was 45 minutes from now, and a little ways away. So Tammy and I jumped in the car and got about halfway there before the friend texted us that
It was all gone.
that it had been all dispensed. And a whole bunch of lawfare people were all on the way to this drugstore. So that was the vaccine chase story of the day, but it did wake me up a little bit. And so now I am here with still unvaccinated and having replaced the Benadryl with a glass of white wine. How was your day?
Lazier than that. I found a pair of old pants in the back of the closet that fit. And so that was great. And I put them on and we walked around because it was sunny and warm outside. Warmish, actually kind of quite cold. Looked like it should be warm, but it was like in the 50s. And then like high 40s. And I don't know. And then like we've just been moving. So like like you'll remember that I moved back, but there was never like an opportunity for a move-in day because of how crazy everything was. And so it's just been like slowly putting stuff away still and cleaning. And it just seems like like this kind of like crazy amount of that. But man, you have had I haven't heard anywhere near like the number of stories about like random vaccine distribution that you have, like that I've heard from you, that I feel like you're living through. And I wonder if it's regional. I don't know. Like yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing them from Rhode Island and I'm hearing them from you in DC. And
so I think I know why. Well, so there's a few things going on here. One is that Maryland's vaccine distribution is a total mess. And it's really chaotic. And so large numbers of people in Maryland are being forced to game the system. And, a lot of the DC area is actually in Maryland. And so you're hearing stories from me that are just a reflection of Maryland. DC is, I think, been a little bit more organized than Maryland, honestly. But there's some of that chaos as well going on here. And so I think the two in combination is probably what's being reflected.
Yeah.
So I have a shout out that I have to do to somebody.
Go ahead.
So the other day on Lawfare Live, not on In Lieu of Fun, Auntie and Yeko.
We haven't seen Auntie in a while.
But he's been, I think he's been going to bed at a civilized hour. But he and Yeko were both on Lawfare Live the other day, and were making jokes in the chat about the overperformance of Finns in Lawfare Live and In Lieu of Fun questioning relative to Swedes, and that really Swedes have really underperformed as members of the audience in these episodes. And one of them may have even joked that the closest thing to a Swede on In Lieu of Fun was you, or something like that. I have a good friend in Malmö, Sweden, who I think may be watching this evening. Maybe in Crowdcast, maybe on Facebook, maybe not even. She's having a rough time these days. And so just wanted to say, shout out to the entirety of our Swedish audience, particularly those in Malmö and Göteborg, who are having a rough time this evening, and especially if their names happen to correspond with Greek letters. And
you glitched out, like literally just as you said the name.
I didn't say the name. I said particularly if their names happen to correspond with Greek letters. And so and so just wanted to say, if that describes you, you should join the Crowdcast audience and come hang out with us in the evenings, because we're not allowed to have fun anymore, but we are allowed to have Swedes on the show. So come join us, Sigma, and we will, it would be nice to see you.
So I wanted to, that is lovely, but that also reminded me that I've been dying to show you this video all day, and I've refrained from sending it to you. And now I have to find it. I saved it, but now it's not coming up. But it is a incredible video of a woman rehoming a wild nest of wild bees. Have you seen this yet, Ben?
The porch video?
I don't know. Is it on a porch?
Yeah, she's lifting up a porch.
Yes. Darn it, you saw it.
Yes, I have seen it. It is awesome.
I know. It is really
awesome.
Show
it to the audience.
Okay, that's what I was going to do. So you entertain people, but I'm trying to find it. And like, I, for some reason, can't find it. And it's just like not...
Oh, so you want me to entertain the audience while you look for it?
No, I got it. Okay, it'll find. Oh no, sorry. Now I'm getting crap with
entertaining the audience.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think it was a TikTok. So, anyways.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
By the way, this is something that I'm very shocked that there has been, like. I have to say, I'm like kind of surprised that TikTok has remained as incredibly like viral as it has, and that it's still around. And this is still, it's like kind of creating this entire new type of way of communicating that is insanely. Sorry, I'm going to make it so you're not just you anymore.
Yeah, I'm feeling very Alice Lee here right now.
Yeah. It was this video. This was the backyard shed.
You're a small business.
So I will.
Sage Accounting can help you reach.
Let me do this for a second.
Time-saving automated.
Skip ads. So, yeah, there we go. And let Let me see if I can do this. I will say that we have not had great luck in doing videos generally on In Lieu of Fun and trying to share video. And I think that finally, eventually, Crowdcast's like latency got less bad. And so,
although the sound on the cancel video was still unfortunate.
Was it really low?
It was just broken up a lot. It was hard to understand.
Oh, it was? Bummer.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, let's see if this works.
We have honeybees that had been living in this backyard shed for at least 2 years. The
Can you hear
landlord
it?
was going to call an exterminator to get rid of the bees, but the family who lived here wanted to save the bees, so they called me. I slowly went into the shed, and I used a thermal imaging camera to see the colony's size and location. The brood nest is the heart of the hive, and it's the bright yellow area you see here. It's where
So
the queen
cool.
lays her eggs, and the bees keep the brood nest at a constant temperature of around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. The floor of the shed was made up of a few pieces of plywood, so after I carefully cut through the first one, I gave the bees some more smoke to keep them calm, and I lifted up the floor. This is always my favorite part of any bee removal, and it always feels like
So
such a privilege
cool.
to enter their world. This hive was absolutely beautiful, and there were even more bees than I expected.
Did you know
I
that
always
they
try to
kind of
make the
create
removal process
combs
as
in
easy
those
on
types
bees
of
as
like
possible.
lateral?
But in order to expose the entire hive, I had to pull up another piece of the floor. This section is where the brood nest and most of the hive was located, and I tried to lift it as slowly as possible to keep it all intact. It was pretty heavy, but most of the combs stayed in place. Now that I had the entire hive exposed, I could get to work removing the structure of the hive and relocating the bees. My goal is always to give the bees as many pieces from their original hive as possible, and I try to put the pieces in the new hive in the same order that the bees built them. The rubber bands help support the weight of the comb, and they hold everything in place during transport and until the bees can produce enough beeswax to attach the pieces of their old hive to the wooden frames of their new hive. Once the bees have attached the comb to the frames, they'll drag the rubber bands out of the hive since the bees like to keep their hive nice and tidy.
Cool.
I spent at least an hour carefully working my way through the hive and removing comb from the floor of the shed and putting it into frames. Luckily, a lot of the bees stayed on the comb as I worked, so many of the bees went right into their new hive along with each piece of the old hive that I removed. One of the reasons I love doing bee removals is because they allow me to see how bees build their hives naturally. When I'm with a colony of wild bees, I get to study the choices that the colony has made for itself instead of the choices a beekeeper made for it. After I removed all of the comb, I used my smoker to herd some of the bees into their new hive. When used properly, the smoke does not harm the bees, and since they react to smoke the same way we do by moving away from it, beekeepers use smoke as a tool to gently move bees around as we work. As I smoked one corner of the original hive, a steady stream of bees started to scurry out from under the floor. I had not yet seen the queen, so I just waited and watched the bees to see if I could spot the queen in the rush. After watching the stream of bees for about 15 minutes, I saw the queen. So I put her in a beekeeping clip called a queen clip to keep her safe. You can see here how much larger she is than the other bees. These clips are designed with slots so that the worker bees can pass through freely to attend to the queen, but I've had some smaller queens escape before, so I usually put a rubber band around them now. After I got the queen settled in, I gave the bees a hand by scooping them into their new hive. This is just a simple way for me to move a mass of bees from one location to another, and as soon as I put these bees near their hive, they marched right in. Since there were quite a few clusters of bees hanging from the floor of the shed, I just kept scooping. And handful after handful, they kept going right into the hive since they wanted to be with their queen and with their colony. Once I got even more bees into the new hive, some of the bees started sending homing signals to the rest of the colony to tell them where their new hive was located. They do this by exposing a gland at the end of their abdomen to release a pheromone which they send out into the world by
Kate,
fingering
mute yourself so that we don't hear that it's double.
their new hive but they needed plenty of time to do so, so I left the hive in the shed overnight. When I went back the next morning, the entire colony had moved
No,
into the
just
new
leave it.
hive, and it was another great day of saving the bees.
Okay, that is awesome.
Was that not the coolest thing? I thought that was like just a phenomenal video, and she does such a great job of walking you through exactly. And then like, I didn't know that they actually sorry, I'm getting go away. I don't want you, ad person. Anyway, sorry. There was, but then she just did this phenomenal job of like talking through like the. Did you know that the combs are roughly in the shape of frames? Like I thought the frames were completely like something that like
No, I think they do frames like that because bees do them vertically.
I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way around. So I mean it makes sense, but yeah, super cool, right? And just like how she scoops the bees with her hands. I wonder how many like bee stings she gets.
She must get a lot and not mind is the answer.
Yes.
Whereas if I get any, like, I've never had a systemic reaction to a big bee sting, but the last time I got a bee sting, my foot swelled up and couldn't fit in a shoe for a week. You know, it was.
I mean, you seem allergic, like you've like allergies or maybe becoming like or like a problem. So, but like, yeah.
I mean, my allergies are bad enough that I, very self-consciously avoided getting stung by a bee until I was probably 18 or 19. And I've never had a systemic reaction, a serious reaction, but I have bad localized reactions to them. I mean, it's not like, it's really quite unpleasant to get stung by a bee.
Yeah. It is. And like, I don't know, wasps are sometimes worse. It really depends. But yeah, I mean, I've had some terrible, when I was in Montana, I decided to go and try to kill a bunch of wasp nests that had like laid eggs and like were nesting in the corrugated plastic of like a bunch of the hoop houses. And I went at night and it was cold and I smashed them, but then there were a whole bunch of alive ones when we came back the next morning and they remembered and they were unhappy and swarmed my head and I got like a bunch of stings in the face and it was like very unpleasant.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Stings in the face. Bad.
Yeah, bad, really bad. So do you want to plan the show? We've got actually like a fair amount of the show planned for this week.
Yeah, let's talk about the show this week and then talk to members of the audience. All right, so tomorrow we have the no longer mystery guest.
It might change.
Just be sure to tell me if it does.
No, I won't tell you because it won't matter because you're not supposed to know anyways. On
Monday, we seem to have Radley Balco scheduled.
Yes, is that fine?
Excellent.
I can do whenever, but like I just
I think Monday with Radley Balco is a great idea.
Great.
Tuesday, Ada Palmer is coming back.
Yeah.
Wednesday, we have Jacob Mchangama.
Yes. I went to his Twitter webpage just to like kind of get his bio information for this week. And he has a pinned tweet that is like a blurb from Jonathan Rauch about his podcast, which is very sweet, which is all about free speech. And so it was just it was cute to see that. So I didn't know that he even knew Jonathan. So small world.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, we have Michel Paradis coming back. Michel and I had a conversation the other day, and he told me that he is now working on a book about Dwight Eisenhower, which, it sounded like an interesting project on a famously boring president who isn't boring at all. Yeah. So Michel is a really interesting guy, and people will remember him from his book about the Doolittle Raiders and his appearance on that. And then, so the only day we have open is Friday. I think we should have, we should reserve Friday for one of the people that the audience has been asking for forever, like your friend, what's her name that you've mentioned a few times?
Nabia?
What's that?
Nabia?
That was not what I was thinking of. Also, Kevin Cruz. People have been asking for Kevin Cruz over and over and over again. Victoria, no, Peter Struck is.
There's like this whole cadre of like fangirls that are like hanging out in the chat that are like one. There's only one thing that they type, and it's like, "Bring on Peter Struck."
Peter Struck is a fine fellow and will be back, but he's not coming on this week. So Kevin Cruz is I will work on, and
okay. Did you send me a text of like the person that you?
That's good.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay. Yes. I can totally try to do that. I don't want to even say her name because then it's going to be like, hopefully we can get her, but yes, I will send her a message.
Okay.
And yeah, that would be fantastic.
And then
really fun end on Friday. And then, so yeah, let me work on that. If not for Friday, for next week. And then, do we want to have a backup for Friday?
Let's just work Friday on various people that the audience has been asking for a while.
Yeah.
And that's and we'll get one of them. The other person who the audience has been asking for a while and has agreed to come on in principle is Mark Elias. Mark is game to do it, and we just haven't nailed down a time. So why don't I suggest Friday to him, and we can work on the other two for whenever we can in the following day. Sure. And of course, Taylor Swift will be the mystery guest both tomorrow and a week
and next Sunday.
Yeah.
That joke is not getting old at all. Not
me, who's keeping it alive.
I know. I was thinking that there's if there are a few other people that have been like some long-standing. Rosa Brooks is someone that has been like
Yep.
So that was, but like I know we've been trying for that for a while. James, I've seen you say Professor Tolson like every day in the chat. I messaged you yesterday about it. I'm totally asked her. She said yes. And then I sent her a message and she hasn't responded. So I'm just waiting to see. And she's very busy. So trust me, I am trying. I also just know that it is in the middle of the semester for professors. And so if you're teaching, it is just incredibly difficult and you're getting asked to do a lot of things right now. And you're kind of have it all up in the air, and most places don't have spring breaks. So
I would just like to point out to Richard Wattenbarger, who just suggested Tucker Carlson and Glenn Greenwald, that I assume you were joking.
Could we just burn down in lieu of fun after we did that? What would would that be our Guy Fawkes Day?
First of all, Guy Fawkes Day is sacred to me because it is on my birthday.
I don't want to fuck with it. I know.
And B, it is the official holiday of lawfare because it's the only holiday devoted to the failure of non-state actors to take down state organs of power. So we don't joke about Guy Fawkes Day on this show, Kate.
That's true. I didn't. But in some parallel universe, maybe you'd like to spend your what is the half birthday of you could be the half Guy Fawkes Day, the Gal Fawkes Day.
I don't know. There are things we joke about, Kate, but Guy Fawkes Day is sacred. I'm sorry. It's just we all have our lines.
I'm stepping away. No, this is. I think that this is completely fine. We will not have Glenn. It's going to be really sad, I know, to everyone not to have Glenn and Tucker on together.
So I've never tangled with Tucker Carlson because he's frankly beneath my weight class. But Glenn Greenwald, I have tangled with a lot, including in a situation that literally, not figuratively, literally involved the delivery of a baby.
Wait,
and
what?
Yes.
What is this story? Tell this story.
So I don't think it is.
I also like that I can put you on focus now, and then I can see out your window, and then I can also see Bob Mueller just like lurking
with a battle axe.
With his battle axe, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I should tell this story in public without the permission of the principals. But
what kind of lead up is that?
I was just leading it up to say that Glenn is a genuinely odd guy, and his sense of boundaries and propriety are different than a lot of other people's. And I would happily have him on the show anytime to chat about his many interesting and important ideas about things. If Glenn wants to come on the show, that's fine with me.
Doesn't he have like a dog sanctuary?
Yeah, that I actually approve of his dog sanctuary.
Yeah.
And Glenn and I are on genuinely terrible terms. He thinks I'm a war criminal, and I think he's an idiot.
Terms with?
What's that? Honestly. I don't know if he's on good. He's going to good terms with Tucker Carlson, but we're on genuinely bad terms. And I'm not going to spend time reaching out to invite him. But if he were to want to come on in lieu of fun, I certainly have no objection to his being here. And there's one condition, which is I control the mute button when he's here. And that would actually be seriously fun to be able to click, no, you don't get to talk right now, Glenn Greenwald. So that's my rule about Glenn Greenwald. He's welcome anytime. I control the mute button.
Okay. That's fair. I just like... and I know that this is like a little, maybe I just expect too much out of people. There's so much that I don't understand. When I first encountered Glenn Greenwald, he was just this progressive lion, and he just like spoke truth to power, and he protected the little guy. And there was this whole, that was like his mantra.
Remember that he did make, before he was a public figure, he made his major mark on the world was defending a crazed white supremacist for killing a federal judge.
No, I never.
The family of a federal judge.
No, so is that really like? Is that actually something that happened?
Yeah, he.
How did I miss? See, this is what
he represented Matthew Hale. I believe the guy's name was Matthew Hale.
He's like a very rotten onion.
In his very first First Amendment issues. I mean, look, I think Glenn is a sincere person. I think he's not. I don't think he's cynical. I think he's. Somebody should check me on the Glenn represented Matthew Hale, because I wouldn't want to be But my recollection is that. This guy took out a contract on a federal judge, and So I think Glenn is a genuinely sincere extremist. So that's what he is and has always been, and he's relatively upfront about it, or actually completely upfront about it.
No.
And by the way. The thing he hates most in life is centrism. He doesn't mind the far right. He minds the middle. And I think that's weird as hell.
I think this is where I get so confused, is like in the tribalism of politics. And when I was younger, like walking in, like reading Salon and expecting it to be a certain type of like reasoned voice and trusting. Like you're 23, 24 years old, you're reading something, you're trying to be informed. And so you read something by someone named Glenn Greenwald and this shapes, you're like, oh, well, that's like a thoughtful voice. And he's got a law degree and he's thought about these things. And, maybe it's a little polemic, but whatever. And then, but like, you understand how like, this is like, that's the like, maybe you can't understand, but I'm trying to like, this was the foundation. That was all I knew of this person. And obviously it's been 15 years since then, and he's just mutated and changed. And like, I've learned so much more about his backstory. Like this, I didn't know that. I knew that he had done something with Hale. I didn't know that he'd like directly defended Hale. But there is,
I believe it was not the criminal case. It was a First Amendment rights case, and Hale was eventually convicted, and I believe is now in prison for taking out a contract on a federal judge. He was like, and that was all, before Glenn was a famous blogger on Salon. So I mean, his like, it's never been that subtle who he is, right? And I don't mean to say he's a right-wing extremist. He's an anti-establishment extremist, and he will side with Vladimir Putin against the establishment. He will, defend Matthew Hale's First Amendment rights against the establishment. He finds the most offensive people in the world to be people like me and Bobby Chesney and, Oren Kerr, because like the center is really, I guess we're the most compromised people in the world. I think it's weird as hell, but look, I'm always happy to talk to Glenn, and I can ask him about the baby delivery story. And that was how we actually met.
This is
so
that,
there we go.
I just think that I just think that these that coughing. But I just think that there's basically like this really interesting, I just think there's something really interesting in people who have lived long public lives and grown and changed and altered in their public perception, either politically or personally, like in the public eye, but not as like celebrities, as like, who are kind of, you get famous and then you can't help but stay in the public eye. People who continue to seek out the public eye, continue to engage, continue to be in the fray, and make their growth and their change and their particular views on things part of the story and the narrative. And I just find that, I don't know, it's just like transfixing for me to like kind of go back and read like early stuff about Glenn Greenwald, because he just seems so, I mean, of course you could see, I guess, some of the writing on the wall, the direction that he's going, but not anywhere near, I think, what we're kind of seeing in the last couple of years.
So Michael Fromberger just points out in the chat, quote, as an aside, Tucker Carlson is an anagram for no slut cracker, which is a little on the nose. I want to say I have not checked this, whether it's accurate. I am putting it in the category of facts way too good to check. If it turns out to be wrong, live TV, dude. I'm
going to start bringing in people. Oh, Richard Wattenberger suggests Erica Thompson of Texas Bee Works.
That's a great idea. We could have Bee Show Part 2.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I will reach out. That's a great idea. Okay.
Mystery guest backup for tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Wait, what are we going to like what time would it be if we didn't do daylight saving time?
Look, I mean, if we were on universal time, we wouldn't have, I just want to point out, this is the friction that my system would get rid of. We would just say, the show tomorrow, as always, is at 2200 Universal Time, and we wouldn't have to have this conversation, but now we're going to have to do, look, for those of you in Europe who are not going on daylight savings time tonight, maybe Europe is doing a different time for that. U.S. clocks shift forward tonight So 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the US tomorrow is going to be an hour earlier than it is today. And that means you're going to have to figure this out, guys. It's going to take you 30 seconds or something. And you also have to listen to me making my love it point today again about this. So that's going to take up 30 seconds of your time too.
What if everyone just gets back the year that they've spent watching In Lieu of Fun?
It's 351 hours, and we could turn back our clocks 351 hours, and look, there's a lot of options here. But I just think this is a good example of the needless friction that not being on universal time causes. Don't forget to move your clocks forward, people.
Can we have a moment, Ben, in which I thought that there was some part, I really thought that there was a large part of you being very, very sincere about universal time and had your heart set on that debate, very serious debate.
So I have to tell you guys,
are you okay?
I have to tell you guys a hilarious story, because when we hung up, turned off In Lieu of Fun yesterday, I get this spree of messages from KK. Look, she's turning red.
I was worried.
She was like, "Are you okay, Ben? Are you mad at me? Was I
disagreed with you about time?"
She was convinced that I was shattered by John Lovett's force of his argument, and that I was thinking it was her fault. And I'm sitting here sending her text messages I'm totally fine. And why would I be mad at you?
And I was I just didn't want you to. No, you would never be mad at me. But I thought.
And I finally pointed out to her, look at the poll data. The audience knew I was full of shit.
Yes. And I was why did I not know? I'm I'm so easily trolled. I'm just so easily trolled. It's a miracle that I didn't. It's a miracle that I've made it to 36 without all of my belongings being stolen or giving all my money to somebody in Zimbabwe or West Nebraska or something that messages me.
Okay, so here is the truth about my views of UTC. Number one, I do believe the system that we have of time zones is dumb. And if you designed a system from scratch now, you would design it based on UTC, because we're all in contact with each other all the time. And there's no reason why the hour 7 needs to correspond, say, to dinner time in the evening and roughly daybreak in the morning. And it would make more sense, given a highly connected world, to have standard time and local conditions. And I think there is probably a genuine disagreement between me and people who think there's something talismanically magical about times corresponding to times of the day. So that is the sense in which I mean it seriously. The sense in which I don't mean it seriously is that I don't think any reasonable, sane person would think that the transaction costs of going from one system to another are such that it would be a wise investment of energy or time or money. And so I got interested in taunting John Lovett about it, not because I thought he was actually the Joe Manchin of time reform and I was proposing the Bernie Sanders, but because it was a fun way of trolling John Lovett. And the idea of having him on In Lieu of Fun was always to have him take this way more seriously than I did. And that was exactly what happened. And I am, content enough in my identity that getting my ass kicked in a lopsided argument uh,
Oh no, it was good fun.
would be good fun.
And I also see it much more as like, now I really understand that he also was very much taking it as like all being in good fun and kind of play acting and swinging into you.
But the funniest thing about it was Kate's reaction, which was like super concerned about me.
It's like, I just am really, it's very funny because as a person who doesn't take myself seriously at all, almost ever, like I take everyone else very seriously and like always assume that they're being like, very serious.
I could not persuade Kate by text yesterday that like I was fine.
I know. John was like, it's okay. I'm like, I just didn't really, I might want to okay. And John was like, okay. Anyway, hold on. We have Daniel. Daniel, hold on. I have to, okay, I do this thing and then I do and then I do this thing and hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Hi.
She's kind of good at it.
It's like all the things. I gotta wiggle my nose. That's a Bewitched joke. Sorry.
So I'm curious of whether you guys as hosts have a favorite running gag or a favorite retired gag that you guys done in the last, 351 episodes?
Oh, wouldn't it be the fucking chair, Daniel? The chair.
I wouldn't include myself in this conversation.
What's your favorite gag, Kate? And what's yours, Daniel?
Yeah, I want to know what
like the Taylor Swift gag.
The Taylor Swift
because
gag?
It's so dumb that it comes around to being good again.
It's kind of great. And
so
if like one day magically happened, it would just be like the show would be over.
The Taylor Swift gag, though, is really just a way of taunting Janine.
Yeah.
Most of the gags, because the first time the Taylor Swift gag started in a text message to Janine. I just texted her that the mystery guest was going to be Taylor Swift, and she flipped out because she believed me. And so then I tweeted it. And that's how the thing started.
I like that.
What's your favorite gag on the show?
I will never forget the time. I forget who was on the show. It was some day when we had like a ton of people on. I think it might have been Popat. It was like very early on, and you gave the Murder Hornet news, and you were so animated, and you told it so well, and you did the thing, and you were like doing this, and the person, whoever the guest was for that day, was just like kind of sitting there, and I was dying, and you were like. Okay, well, anyways, we can go back and look at it. But anyways, I just thought the murder, I just really liked the saber-tooth anchovy. So the
saber-tooth anchovy is, first of all, not a gag.
I know,
it's real.
Okay, but it's not, but like, is it a gag or like an inside joke to the show? Like they kind of are the same, right?
The tooth is off center.
I know.
Like, how did that become an evolutionary advantage?
I know.
Saber-tooth anchovies back in the day would like flirt based on like the tooth being wrong. Like, yeah, your tooth is off center. That's so hot.
I know. And then there was like, I don't know how we picked up Murder Hornet news. I think it was just like in general bad news that was happening. And then there was Daniel's chair. And then I'm trying to think of like other gag. Oh, Lisa Page puppet. Jeez, what's wrong with me?
The Lisa Page puppet is the best gag of the show because it's actually been like it's more than just something we talked about. It actually had its origin in something that happened on the show, and then you drew it and made the puppet, and then the puppet actually came to life and started.
Then it was through my Halloween costume where I got an entire thing and made myself.
Yeah, I mean it's
very meta.
Everything else is just a kind of joke, but the Lisa Page puppet is like it's a highly developed story. It's like a subplot of the whole show.
Like a subplot. There was like, and then her finally coming on. Oh, that was so great. Okay, we have some gags. We can add more later. I can edit it. But there's the. I will say that was kind of great. And the Lisa Page puppet, I just remember that show was crazy because there were a bunch of people that were going to maybe come on and they all fell through. And then Lisa fell through because she couldn't come on because of her MSNBC contract. So,
and then I had to say, I couldn't name MSNBC and saying why. So I said an issue with an employer, which everybody interpreted to mean that the government had gagged her. Which of course was not the case.
Not the case, ironically. And then it was really funny because there was, and then I will say that it was very funny that there was I put in Boris Johnson news because we forgot Boris Johnson. Murder horn. We forgot Baby Cannon, but I feel like Baby Cannon belongs to Lawfare.
Both Baby Cannon and no, Baby Cannon has never been on Lawfare. Baby Cannon is just my Twitter feed.
Oh.
Baby Cannon and the Putin fight.
Out Dog Shirt. Dog Shirt is a good ad. Dog Shirt's going to be a contender.
Yep. Baby Cannon and Putin, the Putin fight, both long predate the show.
Yeah. So I feel like they don't really.
By the way, people, you got to vote for Dog Shirt because Dog Shirt means something to me.
Yeah. I can't vote, Ben. I would vote for Dog Shirt. I'm going to call you after the show and make sure you're okay if you lose this poll.
No. I'm totally fine with the Lisa Page.
David
The Lisa Page puppet is a much more developed joke than Dog Shirt.
Well, I didn't hire a voice actor to like make Lisa Page a reality and then
we had the actual Lisa Page to do it.
That's the other funny part of hi David, hold on, I'm trying to get you. Oh no, I can't no. Oh, there you Oh god.
What's the matter?
No.
Everything's fine.
That was perfect.
Wait, put that back up so that I can tweet it at Lisa Page.
I can't back up, Ben.
No, David.
Hang
on. I'm just wait till I get a screenshot. Smile, Kate. All right.
This is pretty great. Oh my gosh, David, that was amazing. Also, how did you know that was going to fit perfectly in your Hollywood square? Years of practice?
Days and days of practice. No, I've got some presents for each of you today.
Let's see. Ooh, I get to some bees. Oh, look at that clock. Is that clock universal time? It's not. It has numbers on it. And it's not 24 hours. Ooh. I will say this. Okay. Can someone explain the asparagus joke to me? David.
It's when people mansplain cooking asparagus to you.
Oh, is it kind of like a riff on the
how much you hate that?
joke?
Because
you've complained about when people explain cooking asparagus to you on the show, Kate.
I did?
Yeah, because I think you tweeted once that
was cauliflower.
Cauliflower. That's still better represented. I
thought this was a meta joke of you explaining my joke to me and me not understanding my joke, and you actually haven't gotten it right, and me having forgotten my joke. No,
she's got a point.
We'll have to go back in time to pull out all the asparagus tweets, but you had plenty.
I like asparagus and cauliflower. They're both in the brassica family.
They're nutritious and delicious both.
True.
So, one fun question, one stolen from Molly Jungfast, and one serious. So, fun question. What is your favorite spring thing to do?
In general or this year?
Let's make it specifics this year.
I am looking forward to having been vaccinated, talking with strangers outdoors in the spring. I want to talk to strangers. The slogan of the incredibly inappropriate social media site Omegle.
Oh, right. Isn't that, I was going to say, like, why does that sound so creepy?
It's the slogan of Omegle.
Okay. So that's not gonna be, that's a lot of strangers talk to me sometimes, so I don't really have any desire to keep talking to strangers. I'm looking forward to I don't know, I'm looking forward to like having all of my clothes back and like being back in my house and having the windows open in like my house. And I know it doesn't seem like a huge deal. It was a beautiful house to be in. It was like very comfortable, but it wasn't like none of my stuff was in it, except for like have like a car trunk full of stuff. And so like, I don't know, I didn't have like, it wasn't a huge deal, but I just like didn't have any skirts or dresses or any summer clothes or anything for like the entire like last summer or last spring. And I'm kind of looking forward to like being in a sundress and like going for a walk and like seeing people and like having a nice coffee in my hand and walking down the street with Nina and like people watching. I don't know, like when like this, like when the breeze is on your shoulders for the first time after you've been inside for a long time and like it feels extra good. Like, I don't know.
One thing I'm going to do when I'm totally vaccinated is I'm going to go to a local cafe, sit outside, and do in lieu of fun on a day that Kate is hosting so that we're not dependent on my internet, from a public place, and just announce in advance where I'm going to be. And if people want to show up and hang out in person, they can.
Was that Luke? Am I getting them right?
That was Lloyd.
Fuck me. Really? Like every time I'm like, see, it's not just names. Every time it's like there are two options and there are two and I know them differently. Like I can recognize that they are different. And then every time I go for the right name, I'm like second guess myself last minute. Anyways, what are you looking forward to doing, David?
Just walking outside with the sun heating me up and not having coats and hats and gloves and just being out in the air.
Yeah, it's like an amazing feeling. Yeah, totally. What was your second serious question?
So the Molly Junk Fast stolen bit is, which is worse, stealing money from a kid's cancer charity or stealing money from an animal charity? Which is worse? So there's a big write-up in
This is a solid like, let's put a bunch of like stray dogs on train tracks and let's put a bunch of like kids on train tracks and then like
why is this even a question?
This is Molly's question. She posed this today on Twitter.
I love animals, but children are children. What's the serious question here?
The issue is Trump Inc. and getting caught with fraudulent cancer charities and dog charities funneling nearly $2 million through Trump properties.
I see. I am happy to say both are contemptible. That robbing the kids with cancer is worse.
I think that's fair.
I think that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm feeling a pile-on coming if I don't agree. So I'm just gonna say.
No, just go with the kids with cancer. That's a good rule of thumb. By the way, there aren't a lot of good jokes about kids with cancer, but if you've never read,
Jesus Christ, can I wait? Hold on.
If you have,
there we go. Much better. I muted you. It was okay.
Unmute me now.
Okay, sorry. Save you from yourself.
If you have never read Christopher Buckley's Thank You for Smoking, the scene with the kid with cancer is one of the funniest things I have ever read. And it is amazingly not even in bad taste.
Really?
It is shockingly funny.
Christopher Buckley's
The book is called Thank You for Smoking.
I've always wanted to read that. I've never read it.
It is screamingly funny end to end. And the scene where he finds himself debating a kid with cancer is genuinely hilarious, and it is a very good example of how you can write great comedy about super sensitive issues without actually being in bad taste.
Well, we'll see about this. I'm going to go and read it. I'll fact check you.
Read it and see if A, you don't think it's funny, or B, if you think it's in bad taste.
David? Oh, wait, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, last question. What do you think about the attacks by Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to force Representative Swalwell off of House Intel?
There is nothing that I have learned about Eric Swalwell's activity that gives me particular concern. He appears to have been targeted by somebody who probably has untoward connections in Chinese intelligence. This is pretty, that's not an uncommon thing to happen. If you're in positions like that, people tend to target you. As far as I can tell, Swalwell was given a defensive briefing and appears to have responded appropriately. So I'm not entirely sure what the issue is at this point. And I do think there's a significant element of it that appears to be Republicans trying to change the subject from Russia to China, which is an ongoing theme, and also Republicans trying to change the subject from the often willful engagement of Republican operatives or Republican figures with Russian cutouts and operatives, trying to change the subject to Democrats. There simply isn't the same kind of pattern with respect to the latter than the former. And I think if the Bureau had a significant concern about Swalwell's activity, they probably would have communicated that to the Democratic leadership on the Intelligence Committee and to the Democratic House leadership. And the fact that that has not happened suggests to me that there's not much of a question of what Swalwell did. That said, the type of thing that is supposed to have happened here is a common and pretty dangerous thing. You know, if you have intelligence services with essentially infinite human resources, you can put people all over the place to try to get close to people, and being on the Intelligence Committee gives you access to a lot of material. So I don't not take it seriously. I'm just not sure I understand what Eric Swalwell is supposed to have done wrong. And I say that as somebody who doesn't have a particular, like, I don't know the guy. It wouldn't trouble me at all if he had a problem. I mean, other than that, like, I'm not defensive of him in any sense, but I don't quite see what it is he's supposed to have done wrong.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye. Wait, who is it? Was Lloyd again who came up?
That was Lloyd. Yep.
Thank God. Okay. Bye. Okay. We have, let's see here. We have Joel, the Nuge.
The word is nudge.
Hi. No, I think it's Nuge.
That's because you don't speak Yiddish.
It's nudge. Oh, wait. Sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yes, because I'm always bugging you guys.
No.
Joel the Nudge.
What? Oh.
Dude, you could send you get to bother a lot for the amount of good wine you send us.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They started shipping again because the temperatures are better. Just saying.
You guys are very like that was very sweet. Speaking of, we haven't.
Okay,
seen
so
Papa Duck
depending
yet.
on what you guys want me to do, I have to wear the appropriate glasses.
Yes.
If it's a political question, do we go with the McCabe's?
Yes.
If it's a science question, do we go with the James Burks? If it is a music question, do we go with the Sir Eltons? And if it's sports,
I think
Harry
you've got the
Carey.
right glasses choice for each subject, and the question is, which question do you want to go with?
yeah, which one do you want me to go for?
Joel has a small fortune in glasses in front of him. I'll wear my glasses. These are my
I have a
glasses.
gas station sunglasses collection, and the
I'm going to
rules
look
are
over my glasses for this
yes,
question.
yes. I have a sunglasses collection that they have to be $14.99 or less, or purchased at a location where they also serve gasoline.
Oh,
I have
That's
about
a
40
good
pairs.
rule.
that's a really. I have.
Look
It's my
over your
gas station
glasses
sunglasses
again,
collection.
What these are $8.99, but they are prescription.
Wow.
Look over
Yeah.
your glasses again, Kate. Yeah, good. Got a
But they're-
screenshot.
Okay.
$8.99, but they're a prescription, and they are these. They're from Zenni Optical. Have you ever used them? They're. I don't know if you need glasses, Joel, but they're
That's where I got these.
really.
That's where the James Burke came from. My
They're
hero.
freaking awesome, and I love. So, anyways, I buy instead of ever worrying about ever losing a pair of my glasses again or keeping them nice. I just buy like $9 pairs of prescription glasses, and then I literally have left them on countless planes and buses and whatever. I just have them squirreled away all over the house
The
whenever. I need them.
disposable razor approach to glasses.
Yes.
What the hell's wrong with that? Like, I mean, it's like otherwise it's just like this crushing thing of like losing a $200 pair of glasses and buying eyeglasses, whatever. Anyways, hi Joel. It's so lovely.
Hi.
I'm adjusting my glasses to make myself look more intelligent. Now, what's your question?
Well, I had two of them. One was kind of a science one that obviously is going to maybe be another day, and then one was sort of a political one. Which would you rather?
Do them both. We'll close
Okay,
with this.
quick political question. Given the instability we've been sort of seeing, do you think that there is a viable political movement in extolling American pragmatism as a platform? Pragmatism, sort of political.
And when you say pragmatism, do you mean pragmatism as a philosophical matter,
Correct.
or do you mean pragmatism as a operational approach to problems?
Both. Yeah, I think that there's a fair argument that Americans have been successful in various ways because we've been a very pragmatic people from time to time. It has served us well during certain periods. Do we think that there is an oncoming return to American pragmatism coming, given the stark lack of it of late? That's the I should put the political glasses on.
I'll take a crack at this. I think the word pragmatism, any word with 4 syllables creates a will to live problem for voters in the messaging department. And so I think the use of the word pragmatism is almost certainly not a good way to formulate it. I think what you're calling pragmatism is exactly what Joe Biden is trying to persuade as good, competent, serious government that gets things done and doesn't get hung up on either ideology or on personality. And so
Right.
I think creating the impression, hopefully rightly, that government's job is to be pragmatic and effective is a very good idea. Using it as the vocabulary is almost certainly the wrong vocabulary.
Yeah, you
And
could
so-
craft the language lots of ways, but I think that conceptually it seems like we may be in for that kind of talk.
Or even that kind of demonstration project, irrespective of talk, right? That is definitely what Biden is trying to project.
Cool.
I would just say that I agree with Ben, and I just will say that like pragmatism is one of those words that is, I don't know, can be used on either side. I mean, like it's pragmatic for like Republicans to have certain types of policies to push Republican agenda, and it's pragmatic also for the Democrats to have certain types of policies to push, like it's like I kind of struggle with the means ends definition of pragmatism, but like to your point.
And I would kind of say too, kind of been what you were talking about earlier about moderates. That's an area where moderates could reach across tribalism and say, hey, I think we could all get on board with this just because it works. And kind of a moderate crossing area. I'm kind of just curious and eager to see if that starts to gather some momentum.
I think that the thing about pragmatism is that unfortunately versus centrism is that like centrism is all about signaling and pragmatism is in its purest, most essential form, not concerned with signaling at all. And like actually about getting something to work and it being practical and making sense. So whatever analogy you're going to use to make something practical and pragmatic to get people who rely on signals to get reelected and keep having their jobs, that's going to be like one extra bridge, I guess, is like not to be super like to overthink it, but like that's just kind of like I think that that's why pragmatism, everyone likes to claim it, and like also it just is not something that means like a ton. But I mean, I'm with you. I think of myself as that. My friend Kashmir, who I think has a big story coming up out in New York Times magazine tomorrow on privacy, calls herself a privacy pragmatist. And ever since she like described herself as that, I like rethought like what it meant to be, like what it means to be a pragmatist. And I think it just is kind of like, I always think of it as like, you have to go out and live in the same world that you're preaching your philosophy in. And so the two things have to be somewhat aligned, but I think we'll leave it there. Thanks, Joel. Good glasses choice, and it was great to see you.
It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you,
for
Joel.
everything you do.
Thank you.
Ben, I think we're going to leave it there. Oh, man, we're way over. Sorry, that's my fault. I didn't run a very tight ship. It's
okay. It's Saturday. We kick back and we don't worry about shit.
I am actually like, I really want to know after a few days if you feel totally different about the show. I feel totally different about the show running it. Like it feels so like my relationship with it is so different than what it's been like as just a person who shows up. At 5:55 today, I was like, or 4:55, I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna like, oh fuck no, I have to start everything. Like I can't just like, I was like, I have to starting everything. So, anyways,
I have this weird experience all through the day, right? Just including now, where it was time to remove Joel from the screen, and I reach for my mouse to do it, to go up to and I don't have the option of dismissing him. And so my experience of the show, I still feel all the like instincts of running it.
I think I'm kind of like a little like, I'm like, why haven't they disappeared? Oh, fuck. I have to
yeah, exactly.
And it's not that I want them to disappear. It's just like the moment has ended and I have to do this like moment of editing and this moment of producing. And like, I have like not had to do that. And so it's just like, it's very interesting. So we will be back 22, is it 22 or 23? 22 hours, sorry. 22 hours and 44 minutes from now.
With a mystery guest.
It will be Pi Day, March 14th, 3.14. And until then, Ben, we don't have fun anymore, but we do have... Did I forget something?
Well, usually if you say Ben, it means that I'm going to do the closeout. If you don't say Ben, then you do the closeout.
Is the whole... I feel like...
So the Ben is the cue that I'm supposed to do the out. But
we don't, the whole thing that we don't have fun anymore. And then...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think a few times you used to cue me up with we don't have fun anymore. And then I'd fill in the last part. But maybe you're right. That never happened.
I haven't done that in a while.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway...
Okay.
I'll do it any way you want to.
Okay.
But it's 21 hours and 44 minutes from now today because it's
fuck
daylight.
That's completely correct. Okay.
It's a gotcha day to do this for the first time.
Like screw you. Now maybe I'm on your side now. I vote for you. 21
Yeah,
hours.
Universal Time's looking better and better.
21 hours and 42 minutes from now. We don't have fun. Oh wait, hold on. No, Ben, what do we say?
We don't have fun anymore, but we still have Just Us Saturdays.
See you tomorrow.